I got a special guest with me today. He's a friend of mine from the gym. We don't really speak much on the gym, but we know and respect each other for what he puts out in the gym. And we cross paths because of this situation right here. We want to bring awareness to other men, other human beings, men or women that are dealing with mental health, substance abuse, stuff that is relatable to today and struggles that you're dealing with, because you're not alone. We all deal with stuff, you know what I'm saying? Each and one of us. But we just got a platform now that we can speak on it. And I want to introduce you guys to Jesse. Jesse, welcome to the Night Watch podcast. I'm very happy you approached the situation and want to speak on a lot of things, bro.
Yeah.
That really means a lot to me. So with that being said, Jesse, tell us a little bit about what you do and what you're doing right now, and what, like, you a trainer, and also what you're doing for mental awareness, you know?
Yeah, so I'm a personal trainer and a Muay Thai coach at the UFC gym in Plantation, and was a former firefighter until an injury happened, which kind of led me on my path towards personal training through rehab. From there, I kind of, understood the benefits of being able to work out, and then the biggest thing for me was being able to still do something where I could create an impact in somebody's life, which is what I loved about firefighting. Was we have the opportunity to impact somebody's life in a very positive way, but this way I get to do it on a very individual, one-on-one basis, which is the one thing that I really like about it. I've always been open about how I have dealt with my mental health issues. I've been through ups and downs through the whole journey of it. But the one thing that I've always done is I've always been open about my story, because you never know who needs to hear it. So I do a lot of mental health awareness, outreach. I work very closely with a very good organization. If you guys are interested in looking them up, they're called the National Alliance on Mental Illness. They have a bunch of locations, and they have one in Broward County. I do a lot of their fundraising events. I used to do a lot of CIT training, which is crisis intervention training, which is what they do with the police department. If they ever come across a situation where somebody is in a mental health crisis, how to go about it, resources they can use to being able to kind of guide that person to, whether it's, kind of NA, AA, rehab situations, medications, anything along those lines. And what I do is I go in as, they call it a consumer, basically somebody that deals with mental health on a regular basis. And what we do is we speak to the police department as a human. And you have a lot of these people that come in as, psychologists, psychiatrists, they own different types of rehab facilities, but we come in as just a person on the street who deals with this on a day-to-day basis. And what we try to do is we try to bridge the gap between the police department and the community, to just basically being able to say the main message is, when you come across somebody with a crisis, there's no face to it. You can have somebody who's multimillionaire driving a Ferrari down the street, and then you can have the person down the street who's just struggling to be able to pay their bills, who can't feed their kids. Mental health doesn't discriminate. It's for everybody, and anybody can have it. So what we do is we just try to educate them on how we as a human would prefer them to approach a situation for somebody who is in crisis. So that way we don't have situations where your immediate reaction as a police officer is draw your gun. Yeah. It's an approachable situation, and the de-escalation. That's good to know for them, because they don't know what people are dealing with. And normally when something actually happens, it's because the people can't take it no more. Yeah. So I believe in, you never treat every person the same way. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a book. Like, I'm not going to approach this situation how the book told me to do it. It's a human being, and everybody's different, bro. And everybody has a different tolerance in their mind, like, that they can take. So the police are called, they already lost it, bro. Yeah. You can't expect them to be coherent, you know what I'm saying? So that's actually pretty good that you guys do that, bro. I always try to tell them at the end of the day, the main message is, we're here to help, not to hurt. So if you approach a situation as a police officer where you let them know, hey, I'm here to help you. I'm not here to hurt, tell me what's going on. A lot of the time, these people just feel like they're not being heard. So if you can come off as somebody who maybe is an intimidating figure as a police officer and say, hey, I'm not here to hurt you, I'm here to help. What's going on? And it's as small as those words, bro. You can de-escalate a situation so quickly that way. Well, I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad that you're doing that. And let's get started with this question that we got for you, bro. Got it. Let's go. What are the darkest moments you've experienced, and why do you think it kept you in that moment for so long? And what did you do when you realized, hey, I got to get out of this? I think anytime that I've had a situation where I've kind of gone off the deep end a little bit, it's obviously you feel alone, you feel like you're not being heard, and it's more so, if you can consider it a feeling, it's a feeling of nothingness. It's a feeling of feeling numb. It's a feeling of not feeling anything at all. You get to a point where there's so many of these emotions that you're going through that at some point, your body and brain just kind of shut it off. And you're just like, there's no point to this anymore. You don't know which way to go. You don't know if you should feel upset or you should try to work your way, trying to feel happy again, mad. It's just kind of a feeling of like there's nothing there. There's almost just a hole that you're just kind of feeling a void with, and you don't really know what's going through. So those moments are kind of when I start to notice that this is when I have an issue, is when I start to feel really nothing. I'd wake up in the morning, I go through my day, and there's just this numbness and kind of wave of kind of dark cloud hanging over my head, but I can't really explain what the exact feeling is, except for that I just feel numb.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, is there's a numb feeling where I don't have a certain emotion, and that's a scary feeling, to not feel anything. You know, that's when I start to notice, like that's when I need to figure out what's going on, because the moment that you stop feeling anything, that's when there's a serious issue.
Yeah, and that's hard to find out when you're going through those moments, you know what I'm saying? That's why I'm glad that this question came up, because a lot of people don't understand how deep they are.
Yeah.
I was depressed twice, and I didn't know how bad it was until I was already too far in. And I'm like, I felt that. I felt like, okay, I'm just going through the day with no purpose. There's no emotion. I don't care about nothing. I'm just going, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I'm doing this shit over and over and over. I noticed that, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you do, if anybody's feeling like that at any moment, just take a step back and be like, yo, what's really going on? If I'm repeating the same thing over and over with no emotion, no feelings, and just feeling down and cloudy, that's part of it. Just know that something's up, and you know, reach out to a friend.
Yeah.
Reach out to us. We're on Instagram, message, or reach out to anybody that you can speak to. And even if you talk to anybody that you don't know, they might be the one that can relate to you. You know, just don't hold back. Just open up your mouth and ask questions, and you never know what anybody, probably that person is waiting for you to ask.
Yeah.
But we all got to take our accountability too. We got to notice when we're in a spot that we don't want to be in, we got to make a change.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to do it for us, bro.
Yeah.
So, Jesse, the next question is, at what point did you realize that you're in a bad situation? Not a bad situation, but like a phase that you can't come out of, you know what I'm saying? And what did you do about that? Like, did you go exercise? Did you reach out to anybody? What was your step?
So my biggest thing was when I was younger is when I was diagnosed. I got diagnosed when I was 13. That's when I started having a lot of my issues. I started self-harming when I was 13. I kind of started going off, started smoking weed around that age. I started kind of every now and then would drink if I could get it, smoke cigarettes. I wasn't really doing well in school, and I started having a lot of anger issues. I started acting out a lot at school. And it was more so I was kind of forced into it, because it was in a time where back in the early 2000s, now mental health is very openly talked about, which I'm thankful for. But back then, not only did my parents really not know what was going on, not a lot of kids knew what was going on. People didn't really talk about mental health. So I was kind of forced into it by my school, where I was having so many of these issues, and I had been at this school forever. So it was kind of like, they knew that this wasn't me. So they knew that there was something off. Yeah. So they kind of were the ones who were like, we don't want to have to kick him out, but he needs to get some kind of help. So my parents looked into therapy. I'm very thankful for that, because now I'm open about it. I know when I need help, I can ask for it. But I think I got lucky enough to being able to be like, all right, I had to kind of go and figure it out when I was at a young age. Wow. But I know there's a lot of people that also may not know when that time comes. And that's why it's so important to try to just talk to people as much as you can, is because your friends and the people you're close to will recognize their patterns. Their patterns. So if your pattern of who you are, your day-to-day activities starts to feel off, that's when you should be able to be like, all right, something's going on. I need to get help. You know, I'm not going out as much. I'm not communicating with my friends. So understanding what your day-to-day looks like, and then what your patterns on a day-to-day basis look like. If those start to change and you start to self-isolate, you don't reach out as much, maybe you're becoming a little bit more kind of less active, things like that. Those are the times where you should reach out to people. So now that I know when those moments come, fitness is my number one way of getting out of situations and dealing with everything is fitness, making sure that I communicate with the people that I care about. One of the biggest things obviously is like, for me, is God, like being able to pray to God. Like that's a huge thing for me. You know, trying to cast my anxieties onto him, but then I'm constantly in therapy now because I was so wishy-washy with it that now I'm on a path where it's going to be a forever struggle that I'm going to have to deal with, but I'm going to continue to try to win the battle every single time.
I like that. Yeah, I can relate to that. How did substance use like make you feel? Did it make you feel like you was in control at the time? Did it numb the pain? Did it help cope with whatever you was dealing with? And when did you notice that it needed a break?
So I started off mostly with self-harming. That was my biggest way of coping with a lot of stuff. But that is, in a way, still an addiction because you're reliant on it to being able to get through your emotion. You know, it was the idea of like feeling the pain on my own physical skin was a way for me to kind of like ignore the pain that was going on internally.
Yeah.
Once I started kind of getting into substance abuse, when it was mostly when I was in my like late teens, early 20s, I started kind of getting really heavy into like cocaine. That was kind of my drug of choice, but any kind of uppers, cocaine, Adderall, ecstasy, methadone.
You didn't want to feel down. You didn't want to feel like...
I didn't want to feel depressed, and I would use it as like a party drug. So in my mind, you're 19 years old, you're going out, you're fake ID, you're like, oh cool, I'm
alive.
I'm just having fun.
Active.
I'm just enjoying myself. So I didn't see it at the time as an issue, but then looking back on it, looking at how much weight I actually lost, I did have like the nosebleeds. Like I was eating once a day because I would go out all night long until 7 a.m. I'd sleep until 6 p.m. And then I was waking up, I was having a meal, and then it was like, all right, pre-gaming, taking bumps, doing lines, like getting ready to go out again, do it again. And that was just like my lifestyle for like months. And I didn't realize how bad it was. And once I became a firefighter, I had to stop all that. So I was forced to. It was the same thing. I couldn't do all of that. So it was a way for me to force myself to get out of that situation. I did relapse though, which is my biggest thing. That's when I noticed that I had to stop altogether, was when I got injured, started slowly relapsing back because I didn't have a path. So I lost that path of what I was going to do with my life again. I lost my purpose. So I bided my time by doing drugs, by drinking a lot. And then there was one night in particular, I remember, where I was in my apartment by myself, and I don't even know how much cocaine I got, but I got a bunch of cocaine and just like a bottle of like tequila. And I was up until probably like 6 p.m. the next day. Wow. And I just remember thinking to myself, all I wanted to do was go to bed. I just wanted to sleep it off. But my heart, my mind were racing so fast that anytime I laid in my bed, I could feel myself hyperventilating. Damn. And then once I finally fell asleep, I woke up the next day, and that was the moment where, like, at that point, I quit everything. I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I was like, I cannot be doing this by myself in my apartment and nobody knows about it. You know, that was the point where I'm like, when I'm doing this by myself, that's not good. That's not an okay thing for me to do. You know, doing it with friends gave me the mindset that I was just having fun. But once I started doing it by myself in my apartment, that's when I was like, okay, this, I can't keep doing this, because at some point I'm going to wind up dead.
Yeah. And nobody's going to know.
Nobody's going to know, because nobody's knowing that I'm going through this. And it might have just seemed like I was having a fun night, but like there was way deeper of issues going on.
Yeah,
I didn't
recognize. You hide it in, nobody knows. And it is scary when you feel like your heart is going to explode and nobody can come save you because you're hiding something. Yeah, it's a tough situation. I've been in situations, not so much with drugs, but with stress, depression, and it eats you up, bro. But you get to a point that you're like, bro, if I go to sleep stress is a silent killer. I'm gonna not wake up. That's scary. So you try not to go to sleep, and you start panicking even more. You're in a situation like, bro, I gotta do something. Yeah. You know, that happened to me with depression, but I cannot actually understand what you was feeling at that moment, because it's scary. Yeah. And when it's scary, that's like the time to be like, okay, we gotta change something. Yeah. Yeah. So anybody that feels that way or any close to that, that's the first sign. That's like the first red flag. When you feel scared for your own safety or your own health, that you're hiding something.
Yeah.
You just got to be honest, and nobody's
Yeah.
going to judge. If you got people to judge, you got the wrong people around you, bro.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of people that can relate to it, and they don't judge because they know how lonely that feels.
Yeah.
So you're not alone. We're going to take a commercial break now, and we got some sponsors that we got to pay bills. But we're going to come back. Stay tuned. We got more conversation with Jesse, man. Thank you. Thank you for doing that, man. I appreciate that. All right, Jesse, who or what situation, no matter how big or how small, helped you stay away from the bad phase that you were in? If you can relate or elaborate on that.
Yeah, so like I said, when it came to the drugs aspect, that night in my apartment was kind of the turning point of like getting myself clean again and avoiding the hard drugs and going that route. But when it comes to the who, that's the biggest thing for me is you know, my family relationship. You know, my parents separated when I was about 16. Didn't have the best relationship with my father. We're much better now.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, when I first started going through this, is when a lot of other stuff started happening with our relationship too. And like the one thing and the one person that I can say to this day is probably one of the people who continuously, I think, is what keeps me going is my mom.
Wow.
You know, I got kicked out of school when I was 16. I moved here to Florida because she's from here. She moved here after my parents' separation. And that was the biggest thing for me was, to this day, I do everything I can to try to make sure that she knows that whatever I do in my life, I'm going to make her proud doing it. You know, I don't ever want her to feel like what she dealt with going through with me, with the self-harming, with the drug addiction, with, you know, me acting out, with everything that I went through. She stuck by my side the whole time. And I don't ever want to have her feel like she's ever doing anything that's, you know, wrong. So she's like, every day I try to just make sure that she knows that I'm living to make her proud.
That's good.
I do it for myself, but like she is the reason why I'm still here today. She's the reason why I'm able to like pursue what I'm pursuing. And I don't want her to feel like all the shit she went through was in vain. Because she,
that's your why,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
You all gotta have a why.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I have my whys, you have your why, and then we need that. Because people like us, bro, we can be self-motivated, right? But we get to a certain point, like, it's not about us. Let's make somebody else proud, right?
Yeah.
And that's your why, and I respect that very much, and I love that, bro. And the reason why you're here, she brought you here, bro.
Yeah.
And now you're gonna make her proud, so that's good.
I can't thank her enough for like what she's done for me in my life. And I know that every day she's like, oh, like I'm gonna be proud of you, but it's like there's nothing I'm ever gonna do that's gonna be enough to repay her. So I just try every day to like be the best person I can. We're all gonna mess up as humans. We're all gonna have our mistakes. We're all gonna do or say things that we don't mean, or just mess up along the way in life. But if I can try my best to be a good person, to try to be successful in what I do, and to try to like just have her see that like I'm becoming a genuine human, that's my biggest thing. That's my biggest reason for continuing forward.
But you know what? I'm gonna give you a little bit of me. I'm a dad now, bro, and we don't see how our parents see us. But me, now that I have a daughter, bro, what you're doing, this being around, this going to the gym and helping people, that's enough, bro. She's proud of you, bro. You don't think that you have to do more. You doing how you look now, how you was, through your teens, the person you became, Jesse, it's enough. I get teary-eyed because no matter what I see my daughter going through stages, she's a good girl, but we all have our faces, right? But no matter what our kids do, there's no wrong way that we see them. So don't think that you gotta be this extreme saint, bro. What you're doing right now is way more than enough. And she's telling you that she's proud because she is, bro.
Yeah.
Just know that, bro. Like, I'm just telling you because I'm a dad now, and now I realize that there's no wrong that my kid can do.
Yeah.
But if they're doing good, it makes me proud. So she's very proud of you. So don't think that you gotta go way more. The person you are today is perfect, bro.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Let's go to the next question. How has your relationship with pain changed from something you tried to escape into something you tried to understand?
I think that's a good question. Is now I understand it. Like, it's just the understanding of knowing that when I have my moments, it's okay. And that's the biggest thing, is like, a lot of people I think shy away from it, or they try to find a way to like numb it. They try to find a way to avoid it. But the biggest thing is like, feeling pain is an okay thing to feel. It's about recognizing when you're feeling it, and then understanding what you're going through, and then figuring out, okay, why am I feeling this way? And how can I get through this? Do I need to ask for help? Do I need to get therapy? Do I need to try to get back into certain things that maybe I've been neglecting? And that's a big thing, is I think a lot of people try to run from pain instead of trying to embrace it and understand it. 'Cause
Yep.
now I can get to a point where I understand when I need to get help. I know, I recognize when I feel the pain that I have gone through in my past, that I used substance abuse to numb. And now I can recognize it and be like, okay, I feel this way. I need to get help. I need to talk. I need to pray. I need to work out.
When you numb it, I tell people, you numb it, it's gonna be there when you're off it, right? When you come off the high.
And it's gonna come 10 times worse.
It's gonna be worse. So I learned to do that with certain things, bro. Like, I'm gonna accept where it is right now. And I tell people that accept where you are right now. Because once you accept it, you're gonna be closer to coming out of it than being stuck, than hiding it. The more you hide it, the more it builds. And I say that with things like that you think about, that you gotta feed the good energy or the bad energy, right? So if you're feeding the bad energy, you can also feed the good energy, right? So the more you feed the bad, the more it builds up.
Yeah.
The more you don't say something, the more it packs in, like in the warehouse in your brain.
Yeah.
Your mind, your heart, it just packs. And then another feeling comes, it packs on that.
Yeah.
And so there's no more room, and then you explode. So you gotta let it out. Even if you just saying it to yourself, or you take a long walk, and you gotta get it out.
Yeah.
You gotta speak it out. You know what I'm saying? If it makes sense. But
Yeah.
But the way you broke down that question, I actually understand it now. But thank you for that. We got one more question. What do you wish people truly understood about mental health, struggles, and addiction? I mess up on words, Jesse. That often get wrong.
I think the biggest thing is that everybody goes through it. And I think that's the thing, is that people feel like they're not being understood, or nobody around them understands. And okay, so maybe the people around you don't understand the situation you're going through, but that doesn't mean that people don't understand what other people don't understand it. That's why it's so important to look for help, to try to reach out, to try to talk to people, is because, one, you don't know who does and doesn't understand. But I think the people that end up getting into those dark places, the main thing that they feel is, I'm all alone in this. Nobody understands. I can't talk to anybody. I can't reach out to anybody. And that's not the case at all. There's millions of people in this world, billions of people in this world that understand what you're going through. And it's about just being open about it. The moment that you try to hide and think that nobody understands you, like you said, that's all.
Like, nobody's gonna know what you're feeling.
Yeah.
We can't detect emotions, right? We can see if somebody say something, but there's no way to detect, like they say, you can't tell, I can't tell you, hey, Jesse, it hurts me right here. You're like, no, it doesn't hurt you.
Yeah.
You can't tell my pain.
Yeah.
So unless I tell you, yo, Jesse, this shit hurt right here, I pull some, and you say, where? I point at it. Now you understand, right?
Yeah.
But now you can help me. Now you can give me a stretch for that, or train to make it stronger, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But if I don't say that, you will never know. So you do gotta say, like, there's more people that are going through more stuff than not going through more stuff.
Yeah.
And just because they look like they're in shape, they look like they got it all on Instagram, they look like they got a great business, they got it all, they don't got it all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's me, the ones that are really struggling. So don't think that because life looks perfect, that they perfect.
Yeah.
And
I reach out to friends all the time, and I tell them, hey, I'm not in the best place right now. I'm just letting you know, like, just keeping you in tabs. And a lot of the times are just like, I don't know exactly what you're going through. I don't know how I can help, but just know I'm here.
Wow.
And that's the biggest thing, is like just knowing that, like, okay, if I need to reach out, I'm out there, but I'm open and I'm honest about it. And I think the biggest thing is people just need to allow themselves to be open and be honest, because the biggest thing about mental health and everything is that, like you said, you can't see it. Nobody else around you can see it. You can feel it, but nobody else is going to know unless you tell them. And nobody else is going to know what you're going through unless you say something. Mm-hmm. So you have to be open with it. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with the people around you, because then, only then, can you start working your way through it. because then you'll understand, okay, it's not a scary thing. It's not a judgmental thing. Like, you don't have to feel ashamed for feeling how you're feeling. It's a normal thing. I guarantee you, your friend that you reach out to
It's going through the same
thing. It might just not be the exact same situation, but they're feeling the same way.
Yes, bro.
You know, situational predicaments are different, but the emotion behind it can be the same. Hey, I'm depressed because I'm going through this. I'm depressed because I'm going through this. The situations are different, but we feel the same. And that's the thing is,
But now you guys can talk. Now you both try to heal together, right? Instead of going through it by yourself.
Yeah.
Or you can just not say nothing, and you guys dealing with the same stuff and not knowing.
Yeah.
Now you both acting weird to each other. It's a lot worse now.
silence is a killer. And that's the thing is, a lot of the people that you hear about that end up committing suicide and going to these extremes, you never hear about it.
Yep.
And you don't hear about it because it doesn't perceive that they're going through anything.
Oh, I like that. Stay tuned. We got to go pay more bills. Jesse, we're getting bigger in this podcast, so we got higher bills. So we got more sponsors. So stay tuned. More conversation with Jesse. If somebody feels lost or overwhelmed with situation you got going on in life today, tomorrow, next week, it doesn't matter. Feel free to reach out. If you see Jesse walking around, say what's up to him, have a conversation with him, hit him on the DM. We're gonna have your Instagram put on there. Feel free to do the same to me, man. Like, we're open books, man. And life is a journey, and we're supposed to help each other whenever we see somebody in trouble, right? So, experience that I have can help somebody else. Experience that you have, Jesse, is all for a reason. And they say that God gives his toughest battles to the strongest soldier, right? Mm-hmm. But it comes with a what do you call it? It comes with a burden for us, right? Because we got to live that.
Yeah.
And it sucks, bro. But anything that you went through is meant for you, bro.
Yeah.
Everything I went through is meant for me because we're supposed to carry that on our shoulder. So I respect that about you. And now that I got to know more about you, about this, I respect you even more, bro. And I want to let you know that I'm glad you came, you spoke about this, and we're going to do this more. You know what I'm saying? With other things, whenever you want, we can always talk. And if you have ideas, we'll put it out there. But this is for them. So whoever heard this, whenever you watch this, it can be months from now, feel free to reach out to those that you have around you. You know what I'm saying? Don't be scared. Don't be afraid, because we're all going through something.
Yeah, like I tell people all the time, I'm an open book. Reach out to me. I may not be able to fix your issue, but I can hear you out. I can try to just let you know you're not alone. You can vent to me, and you may not even know me. And that doesn't make us different. We're all going through this. So if you're feeling like you're going through something, reach out to somebody who you know has an understanding of that, because you might be in different parts of the world. You might have different things going on in your life. You might be in different places in your life. But if you can reach out to somebody who understands what's going on in your situation, that can at least give you the confidence to know that, hey, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And that's always going to be there. There's always going to be the light. Don't let yourself get so far into the darkness that you can't see that light anymore. Because the moment that starts happening, that's when you got to really look at the situation and be like, I need some serious help.
Yep.
And if you can still just make sure that every time you go through a situation, say like, it sucks right now, I'm going to get through it though.
It's temporary.
I'm going to be stronger and better on the other end of it,
bro.
Yeah. And everything can seem like it piles up at the same time, and that's generally what happens. Is a lot of people are like, oh, everything's just happening at once.
Yeah, but they say when it rains, it storms, right? But also when it rains good, it storms good too. But everything's temporary, bro. Whenever it rains, the sun will come up and dry it up, right?
Things can't grow.
It's not gonna
rain.
just rain.
Yeah.
This is temporary.
Yeah.
It feels like a lot because when you're going through the storm, it's heavy, bro.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna be a storm the whole time.
Yeah.
Just knowing that, I gotta weather the storm every time, one day at a time. And every day you get closer to getting out, to getting the sun. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you got to be like, yo, I'm glad I'm going through it right now because I'm a lot closer to getting out of this.
Yeah.
But you always got to be positive. And it's hard. It's hard, though. It's hard to do it. Easier said than done, you know? But just know that you guys are not alone. There's a platform here. It's free speech, and it's always to uplift everybody that needs to hear it. So I'm glad that you came, Jesse. We're going to go deeper into some other questions right now, and then we'll close it out.
I'm ready.
All right, Jesse, so this is part of the Night Watch podcast segment that we just go off topic of the questions, and let's just talk about a conversation with us, you know what I'm saying? Like, I see you at the gym every day. Every day I do see you, right?
Yeah, I'm there when the sun is still down, and I leave when the sun goes down.
Okay. And you work there? Mm-hmm. I don't. But you see me there every day.
Yeah.
What goes through your head, what in your mind about me when you see me there all the time? Be like, yo, this guy doesn't even have a job.
It's always the same.
Tell me what you first, when he's like, yo, this guy's here all the time.
It's always the same thing that I always ask myself whenever you see the people at like 2 p.m. when like there's nobody at the gym and they're just strolling in. And you're like, yeah, what does this guy do, bro? Like that's the biggest thing that you always hear is like, because you have your general people that you see in the morning and you see at night. And then
before they go to work and after work.
And then you have the filler people in the middle. So there was definitely a period where I was just like, I have no idea what this is. I have no idea.
And you know, when you do that, there was a point that sometimes you would say hi to me, right? And we'll say what's up. And the other time you don't say nothing. And I'm like, I told Tyrell, what's wrong with him, bro? Like, he says what's up to me sometimes, and then other time he doesn't say shit. And I'm like, I'm not gonna say nothing to him because I don't know what am I getting from him. He's like, bro, you're tripping, bro. Jesse's cool.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, he's cool, but I just don't know how to gauge it. And I didn't know, maybe you're going through some stuff that day, right? And you look at me, but you're probably looking at me not even thinking that you just, you look and just,
I know. Half the time I really just don't even pay attention to
know.
It. Yeah.
So I feel like, well, he's saying he's looking at me, but he don't say nothing. So I'm like, okay, this is weird. But knowing that you had a lot on your plate, bro, you know what I'm saying? I get it, bro.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things, because when you see me all the time and I see you, I'm like, I wonder what he's thinking that he sees me all the time. There's what he's sharing.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where I'm there because I'm there so much and I work with so many people at like in the mornings and the evenings, especially when I'm in the middle of the day or I'm working out or whatever the case is, I disassociate from everything that goes on in that gym. So half the time when I see people in the gym, even if I see them on a regular basis, if it's the middle of the day, I'm just so locked, like so away from
You already done so much in the morning.
I've done so
to
much
that point that you're like, bro,
I'm just trying to like do whatever I can to zone out from like the fact that I'm like at work, I'm in the gym, and as much as I love the gym, man, I'm there all the time.
Oh, I know.
I'm there all the time. So I just try to like disassociate sometimes, and I don't even think I realize.
I know.
Like,
bro.
I don't even say.
I know that now. Tyrell told me he's good, Hugo. You tripping. I said, all right, maybe I'm really into it because I am there a lot. And I had another question, like when you first approached me about the podcast, I had no idea that you watched that or that you wanted to do that. So that was dope that you reached out because, like I said, you were like, hi sometime.
Yeah.
I would never be like, hey, Jesse, you want to do this? Because I didn't know how you was. You know what I'm saying? But when you told me that, I'm like, damn, that's crazy. I would love to hear that.
It kind of just happened on an impulse situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't necessarily thinking about it, but like obviously I knew you had the podcast. I knew like obviously I know a lot of people at the gym that have been on the podcast and everything, and I was just kind of like thinking to myself, I think I had just maybe done like some of the donations for like some mental health awareness, things like that. So I was trying to figure out how can I like promote this on a platform that's bigger than what I can just do on like my social media or like just by talking to people face to face. I wanted to do it where I could express something bigger and be able to reach a bigger audience, because I know that there's so many people that like watch podcasts all over the world. So I'm like, where can I find a space that I can know also the person that's hosting it that has a real relationship with the people they're talking to. You know, I don't want somebody who's just like, oh, I'm a face. I want somebody who's understanding of it, which is why when we had that conversation in the parking lot,
I want to talk about that.
You told me a little bit about yours, like your situation too. I was like, okay, this is a real person. It's not just a person who's like big on social media and has a personality they put on for the camera. No, it's a real person, real situation.
And I never used to speak on my social media. It was all about work, my daughter. That's all I posted. Never spoke.
Yeah.
Never felt like I needed to speak, right? And I didn't know that I should have been speaking, right? So this is how the podcast became, because my boys or my friends are like, hey, if you start talking on stuff that you experience, a lot of people can relate. I'm like, damn, I didn't think about that. But let's talk about that conversation that we had. You was leaving, I was coming into the gym. And I believe everything happens for a reason, Jesse. So I parked, right? I normally take my pre-workout on the way to the gym. I make a mess, right? In the car. Sometimes I walk out and I got like pre-workout on my mouth. And I don't know this because I forget. And then I'm walking in and people are like, hey, what's up? And and I got like a bunch of pre-workout. It doesn't even look like pre-workout. It looks like drugs, bro. And I'm like, I can't believe that. So that day I take pre-workout, I park. I'm coming in. If I would have came in, I would have missed you right there. I probably would have seen you crossing path in the gym and wouldn't have had a conversation. I left my AirPods in the car. So I'm like, damn, let me go back to the car. I'll go back to the car. And I walked back, and that's when I ran into you. And you were like, hey, let's link up, let's talk. And what did you tell me? You told me that you can relate to a lot of things, but what were some of the things that, if you remember what you said? And I'm like, bro, look, that shit messed me up, though, I ain't gonna lie, bro. That choked me up. And I'm like, you're supposed to be here, Jesse. And I'm glad I ran into you right now, but that threw me off, because I didn't know. And we don't know, you know what I'm saying? There's times that I'm in the car and I literally cry, just like, because I'm overwhelmed with life and it beats me up and I hold it in. Sometimes I just sit there and I watch something on the grand set and I bawl and I'm like, I can't come out the car like this. But I accept it, clean my face and go about my day. But I ran into you. What did you say that you wanted to speak on real life situation that you dealt with? What was that situation?
So, like, I tell people all the time, like, I've lived a million lives, and it's like, you know, I've left the country for 3.5 months to do volunteer work. That's kind of when I came back to do fire department. Then, you know, I started with self-harm, drug addiction, and got shot at when I was 17. Went to juvie after that for like just a day because the guy had like 2 attempted murder charges on my friend and I. And recently, I want to say it was like maybe 8 months ago, I had a situation where I had a really, really bad depressive episode. And I don't think anybody, like I said, I don't think anybody knows this at the gym, because when I come to the gym, I try to disassociate from what's going on outside because that's my work environment. I have to kind of put on this face, but nobody really knows unless I say something, you know, and I'll tell my clients like, hey, like I'm a little bit off today, like just letting you know, because, you know, they don't need to know the situation, but I'm at least honest with them. So they've known me long enough to read that. But I had a really bad manic episode and a really bad depressive episode where I pretty much had sat on my bed, I self-harmed. So I relapsed from that about 8 months ago, and I sat on my bed and I was chugging a bottle of tequila and I had my gun right next to me. And I was crying, but I didn't know how I felt. Like I said, I felt numb, and I was just,
you know, there was something wrong, but you didn't know where it was coming from, right?
I think that was the scariest situation once I realized what happened. But when I was in that moment, I had no idea what was going on. I was just so filled up with like, what's the point? What's the point? What's the point? And the next day was just like this immediate, just like regret. I called out of work. I just said I was sick or something. But like, yeah, like there's so much stress that gets to me sometimes that I tend to like kind of internalize it. And then I'll have like this outburst, but I've never had anything where it's been to that point where I've been that legitimately scared afterwards. And first thing I thought about, like I said, was my mom, because the first thing I always think about whenever I go through these situations is like, I generally call my mom. I didn't call my mom at all. I don't even think she really knew. I don't think she still does know about it. But I was just like, how, and it sounds terrible to say, but like, it is a selfish thing to do, because there's so many people that care about you that like
it affects everybody, bro.
And you don't realize that because you're so self internalizing that you forget that these people care about you. You just shut off those emotions and you tell yourself they don't.
Yeah.
You tell yourself they don't understand. You tell yourself, what's the point?
There's a lot of
My
people
life
that
has
care
no
about
value,
us,
and that's not the case. That's never the case. Everybody's life has value, and whether it's good or bad. And in that moment, when I kind of came to the next day, because I had kind of blacked out that night because I was already drinking very heavily.
Yeah.
So when I came to the next day and I woke up, I just constantly was thinking about how selfish I would have been if I had ever allowed that to happen to how my mom would have been affected, how my sister would have been affected, how my nephew would have been affected. You know, my nephew is 5 years old, you know, not having his uncle around, you know, like I could never look at myself in the mirror and just like tell myself like that would have been an okay thing to do. And I thank God every day that, you know, I didn't go through with it, but that was the moment where I was like, I need to be able to like this needs to be talked about.
Yep.
Because
it happens a lot.
Yeah.
And you know, it was around that time before Christmas and Thanksgiving, I think it was, we had a conversation, and we were supposed to shoot, but our schedule didn't match up, right? Because during Christmas, New Year's, a lot of people go through that and they go through it.
Yeah.
They finish it. And it's always for something that it wasn't that deep, you know? They didn't have nobody to talk to, or they didn't have that why.
Yeah.
Or if they had that why, it was blocked with alcohol or drugs. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to film back then. We didn't, but I'm glad we're doing it now. But a lot of people go through that shit. They really do, bro. And when you told me that, I was going in the gym.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. Thanks, Jesse. You really put that on me, bro. Like,
my bad.
And Jesse's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I'm going home.
Yeah, you going home. I'm going in. I'm
right?
like, bro. I said,
have a good workout.
But it wasn't bad, but it was a lot. I felt, damn, you know, like, who would have thought that Jesse would go through that? Same thing with me. I go through my own shit, but I told you, I'm glad that you're here, Jesse, because you have a voice, dog. You know what I'm saying? This is the first time we really talk like this, but it's supposed to be like this, bro.
Yeah.
I always say everything's supposed to be the way it's gonna be. It is what it is, right? So I'm glad that you are here, because this podcast is taking different levels and it's getting better. And this season is about stuff like this. And we're gonna do the best that we can to put it out everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we're gonna joke around, but we're also gonna have a big meaningful message behind it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you're part of the second season. Because the first season we were like a little not there yet. But I'm glad that you're here second season, and we're gonna do whatever you need from us, Andres, the podcast team. Like, we're here to uplift you and whatever you got going on.
Yeah.
So I want you to know that, you know, this is not just about me, it's about you too. And we respect you. And this moment that we are now, all the things that you went through is just for that, bro.
Yeah.
You know that? So I respect you, bro.
I appreciate
you.
Yeah.
We're gonna do some more reels down the future. Whenever you want to do it, we're doing here, and we shoot them any little message. Like I told you, in person, we stick to the course, bro.
Yeah. I want to say like 3 things real quick.
Yeah, no problem.
To the people real quick. There's always 3 things that I kind of try to focus on whenever it comes to like mental health that I tell people. And it's the biggest 3 are: 1, you're not alone. Plain and simple. You're not alone going through what you're going through. 2, it's okay to feel the way you're feeling. It's okay not to be okay. So you're not alone. It's okay to feel the way you're feeling. Ask for help. Realize you need to get help. Don't shy away. And I think especially as men, there still is that stigma of like machismo. Like
hold it in,
you can't share emotion.
Yep.
And that's you know, we internalize a lot, and I think that's just generational too. Is like different generations grew up, we're like, hey, man up. And I think we need to break the chain of that generational kind of mindset where, hey, I have a son, he's, you know, 6 years old, he's having a bad day. Hey, what's going on?
Yep.
Okay. How does that make you feel? And how do you get through it? And I think if we can change that mindset of being able to still have our masculine while still being able to be in touch with how we're feeling and ask for help. I think that's going to create a whole different mindset on just men's mental health in general.
100%.
But it has to start with those few men that are brave enough and open enough with a big enough platform, especially, which is why I'm very happy that, especially in professional sports, it's starting to be talked about more, is because you have these people at the top of their game going through the same thing you're going through, the same thing that family that's just scraping by is going through.
Yeah.
Money doesn't make anything. Social, economic, like, status does not mean a thing. You know, what you do for a living doesn't mean anything. The car you drive doesn't mean anything. The way you dress doesn't mean anything. Everybody has these emotions.
Yeah.
And it's the people that go through it the hardest that should be the ones who step up and say something, because then you get the idea, you get the feeling that, okay, I can go through this and I can work my way through this, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel, like I said. And I think it's important for people and for men to be able to say, hey, we as men can lean on each other. And it doesn't mean that we're weak.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that we're somehow less of a man. And God gives us these emotions for a reason. You know, we are allowed to feel these ways. And I think the best thing to do is surround yourself with men who have that likely mindset. You know, surround yourself with men who are a positive influence, who understand and hear you out and don't judge you for it.
Yeah.
You know, we can joke around about it once you get to that point. You know, I can joke around about my mental health, about certain situations, because I've been through it.
Yeah.
You know, when I talk about when I got shot at, people are like, that's wild. And I can talk about these things openly now because I've understood that, like, it's just something I go through, and I've understood how to process it. But I think it's important for men to be able to rely on other men.
But real men, Jesse, real men will understand that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If once I feel like when I had my daughter, I tapped into this emotional feelings that I never had, or I would have closed. Now I gotta be soft around my daughter,
Yeah.
you know, but I'm still calculated.
Yeah.
It actually made me stronger. I'm more calculated and more responsible with my actions. So it makes me more dangerous.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel when a real man that goes through a lot of crazy stuff mentally, if you open up, you're gonna get stronger.
Yeah.
Because now you know those feelings and you know how to handle those feelings and you heal from those. Now you just open up another door into your mental awareness. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna take people like us to say that though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like 2026, we live in a generation that they don't make them like us no more, bro.
Yeah.
But we're in between our parents' generation and our kids' generation, so we're the one that's going to change that, because we're in the middle. So the more we talk about it, the more other men like us is going to make a difference.
Yeah.
They should make a difference, and those men will understand that.
Yeah.
There's no explanation. Like, once we talk like this, they get it.
Yeah.
If they don't get it, then they're not that man to do that.
Yeah.
And we'll change that. You know what I'm saying? But that's a good point of view that you had there, and I'm glad you said that before we closed out. And anything else, Jesse? Because
I think that's it, man.
we got to pay bills, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
No, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you, bro.
Sir.
Thank you for coming to the Night Watch podcast. The man Jesse, like, feel free to reach out to him. He's a dope ass trainer. I'm not gonna say that word, but he's dope. He does everything. I see him killing it. I seen him training. I see him go through this every day. No excuses. Zero negotiation with that, man. And I respect that about you. He runs a lot of classes. Like I said, we're gonna put his Instagram up so you guys can follow him and hit the DMs, man. So appreciate you. Take it easy. Till next time.